it's a partial differential equation.
Right, so you can have a single pulse, and technically it has some harmonics in it, but it's really, but what they're actually measuring at these super low frequencies, they're not measuring what we would consider sound, they're measuring pressure spikes in the atmosphere. Of course, that's what sound technically is, but
when it's
okay, when the wind is blowing and you hear it hit your window, that's pressure spike from the, technically that's infrasound. And it's actually quite high level. If it rattles your windows, it's probably at 80 to 90 decibels anyway, if you were measuring it as sound.
It's up there.
Yeah. But see, that's just it. There's a huge amount of that that's natural, which is where that...
Okay, the next changes that you made, so I can go home and start trying to figure this out.
Yep. Okay, I included class 2, and I'm going to run that by Hessler as well. Integrating averaging sound level meters. The reason being, in the future, we may want to run, if we run any studies in the future, or if they're running, if we have a lot of people that claim that the sound is louder at their place, so we're going to have to do a, when they do their sound survey, we say, well, you're going to have to do one near his house and his. You can only rent or buy so many class 1 instruments. Class 2 are so close in quality that you can say, okay, if you're a general instrument, you can use the class 2s, and at these places in particular, we'll say you got to use the class 1s. But the difference in, like I say, when I looked it up, it was like a class 1 is 0.7 dB accuracy, a class 2 is 1 dB accuracy.
Right.
It's insignificant difference.
So this is where we increase the standards for monitoring, so that they have to do it for at least 14 days, so that we can get everything. So this is what I was talking about before. I mean, to me, this ordinance is much more restrictive and comprehensive than the one that we have now.
Well, you can argue that either way, but the plain fact is, a lot of the previous one was based on old ideas that are now being...
Well, right, we didn't make people monitor it for 14 days. We used 40 and 45 decibels instead of 35 decibels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, and this is, there might be a couple of little areas, but this is harder, and this one's harder to meet, but the stuff that you physically can't do, like isocontours, aren't in it.
Exactly. But the things you can do
Are freaking rigorous.
Exactly. In other words, this does, just as that recording that Rick James was suggesting for rural areas, I had someone suggest to me, why not just use the state standard now that they've reduced it to 42 dB? And I still think that's too loud for a rural area. I'll go with Rick James on the 35. Outside of people's houses and within 100 feet of their residences. Because what that means is that inside their house, if they're sleeping inside, it's going to be under 30. And in fact, the general figure is, even with a window open slightly, not wide open, but even with a window open slightly, supposedly DBA is reduced by, well, World Health Organization assumes 15 dB going inside for DBA. DBC is reduced less. This so-called infrasound is reduced very little. Because it does, it passes through just about everything. And that's where I'm looking for a standard to add. But if we're going to add a standard, it needs to be based on something not only that can be measured, but on something that's really based on protecting health and welfare and not pulling a number out of them. And so many of these old standards were just pulled out of the air.
I would be real cautious of some of the WHO standards because, many places in the world aren't stick-built homes. sound decreasing when it enters a house.
Well, they were talking about that type of house though.
Maybe it's stick built rather than,
Yes.
some
Yeah.
places are more masonry, meaning that may be a factor.
No, well, these are pretty much in Europe. I mean, that's, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, but even then, if you've got a window open, that's where most of the sound is gonna be coming through.
But when the sound comes in, it'll reverberate more in a masonry home. If you've ever lived in a concrete house, for example, when the sound comes in, there is an echo effect. May
Yeah.
not be the right word to use, but
Mhm.
it's different in a stick-built house than it is a,
Right, and yet, while it will reverberate more inside, once it gets inside, less comes through the masonry walls. It's, everything is,
yeah, no, I'm just saying, WHO though may be operating on a European more than a US. And
well, that's
the
why there's a
construction-
limited amount you can
Yeah.
take any of
If you
them.
can, help them support that, that'd be good.
Well, do a little research on it.
But the more research you look at, the more you see just how complicated the subject is.
Okay, this looks like it should still be, subject to quite a bit of change, this quantities to be measured section.
Quantities to be measured. That is
Some
one
of
of
these-
the areas where I'm looking for Hessler's input. on
Right,
whether
this
those
is,
are
like, some of the
correct.
stuff doesn't even matter anymore. Some of these definitions look like they don't even matter anymore.
They may not.
Like LE 10A minus L 90A, blah, 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 blah.
Okay, I gotta read through that.
Right.
I actually didn't even go through that because I was
Okay,
trying to
that's
get
fine.
the rest. It's not done, these are.
No, I was just checking.
Yep,
Okay, so,
didn't my comments come through here?
I said to show everything. View. Review, all markup.
Well, you got comments on yours, don't you?
The one that came on my computer at home, yeah. I
I
didn't
don't know why his
Bill
aren't showing.
printed it. Are there comments on those pages then?
Show comments is grayed, don't ask me why.
Don't know.
I hate different versions of Windows.
I know it's-
That's interesting because you got them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I commented most of the big changes.
I don't think a lot of them come out on the own, you know, because some of the pages to the right-hand side were just full of.
All right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go ahead and just try to get this straightened out and, and done so that people have a chance to look at it, print it out, and then make more comments. The other thing is now we have this town computer. What I'm gonna do is, I'm going to do a big emailing or whatever, or see if I can use like Google Documents or something to post the actual stuff that's gonna get done up in the Google Documents or something up there so that it's all stored, not on my personal computer, but up in this, and then, up in the cloud or,
Well, I got a capability right there of putting it up in the cloud, that's sort of one of the functions.
yeah, I kind of saw that, but I'm not that familiar with this version of Windows. This is the first time I've used it, so I kind of got a gist, but I'll try to figure it out. This probably has like a Microsoft cloud. I want to use like, you're right, I don't have a Microsoft cloud, but I got a Mac at home, so it's probably, they'll probably collide.
You can back up everything you do.
Yeah, I do. So anyway, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna post it up into the, Google Docs probably somewhere, and then we'll pull it down off of that. I'll figure something out. The Word documents themselves. And then this can stay here.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not seeing my comments, so.
I don't know. There's one.
No, you just added that one.
No, did I? No, that's one I did before.
That's not mine. Now, there was one.
Well,
Wait
there-
a minute, now they're here. What's going on?
I don't know. I'll make sure that they appear.
Here they are. Yeah, oh, the reason yours say author instead of Bruce,
Well, I know, I changed the security settings to, on the document I was using to not have any particular person making the comments.
okay. Well, I thought when I had them on mine from the one you sent me, it still said Eric. But I had this like 2/3 done and Windows didn't like something I did and Office crashed. When I brought back up you know how it gives you the saved version, it no longer had your name on the comments. And I had to redo half my work.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes, because for some reason, even though I've got auto-save on, I keep getting a message saying, auto-save is delayed for this. Auto-save the damn thing.
Well, how many documents are like, you know, you can definitely appreciate this. So you write a document up, and, you know, this is 1970 now, okay, on our Smith Corona. You type it, okay, and then you have signature lines, and because then you're going to do like a memo, you're going to pass it, and I'm going to pass it to you, you're going to sign it, 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 come back to me. Now, that's an old style of doing stuff, right? And it's being, or tried and proven, it's routine. So can you believe it's taken, even though in Microsoft Word, you can go and you can insert digital signatures and use a common access card and all that other good stuff to do security signing so you can know that I signed it. It isn't until Office 2013 that you can set up a document for multiple signatures. I mean, in 2013 is the first time they had that feature available. Because if I sign a document in my Office 2010 or home or work using my common access card, if I pass it to you because I want your approval, you can't add a signature to it, because if you add a signature to it, it'll delete my signature as if it didn't exist. So you can only do one digital signature on a document until you get to Office 2013. I mean, what a concept, huh?
Yep.
It took them until now to figure that out. But anyways. All right, so I didn't make any changes. This is the exact same document I have that you emailed me, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna meet on the 27th. And think about all these different Boonsbar things that we can do on the meeting.
And I'm going to come up with a few more changes on there, especially as I get some more feedback.
Yeah.
But that's generally, if there's a standard in it, it's going to be based on something we can document as a reason for it that goes back to some research that's been done by someone, and the more recent, the better. There's a lot of research that's older, which...
Wait. So just to go around the horn here a little bit on some of this, the proposed changes in the ordinance. I mean, you know, you brought up a couple times, I mean, is there a section right now that you don't like? I mean, that you would rather advocate for a different
I'm just
thing?
talking in generic sense, is if someone comes in, it's all or nothing.
Well, no, I just want to make sure that we have concurrence on the board, because if there's definitely some other opinion about, you know, content or whatever, I mean, I'd rather, I mean, I want it addressed, I mean, maybe something that somebody didn't think of or whatever. What I don't want is, I don't want to have this not be, you know, have to be a 4/5 or 5/6 or however many people we have product. I mean, I want it to be a whole product from the board perspective, and I definitely can compromise on a variety of things, you know, with board members on how this should go down, but I just...
Well, I just want this to be a feckless exercise. If it's not gonna pass, or if the population votes on it and they have a choice of all or nothing, I'm just wondering if there's some alternative. Obviously, some sections can be very controversial. What options do people have? Is it all or nothing? Or I realize there's some downsides to every option that we select, but I'm just concerned that if there's something in there that a significant portion of the population finds offensive or won't support, then we haven't achieved our mission.
Well, I think part of that comes down to explaining to them how many mistakes
That we made in the past.
that we made in the past and say, this is better.
But that's gonna be a salesmanship job then.
Right, well, that's part of the duties. If you're gonna write something, you better be able to stand behind it.
And that's part of the reason for looking at so many papers and information and so much discussion going on here, is it's not just, we're not just, what happened before literally is we took somebody else's ordinance, tweaked it a little bit without understanding what we were doing completely. We had we had a good general feel, but we didn't really understand it deeply.
Yeah, I understand that. That's just a lesson learned. And,
Yeah,
this
so
is-
now we're trying to fix everything that,
But there are a lot of studies out there, and we need to be careful that we go with the studies that are considered not junk science.
yes, although what you also have right now is they're reaching a point where new evidence is conflicting with some of the old,
And
and,
that's very troubling.
well, it is, that's why I brought so much of it up.
That's why
You've
they
seen it.
revise the National Electric Code every 3 or 4 years.
And it still has defects in it.
Well, one thing I do like is the fact that we're gonna reduce the standard down to 35, and we are gonna use some of our James's work.
Well, then that's something we need to maybe stress in our hearings and everything else.
Is that we are,
It's not making it easier, that in many respects it's making it harder, and here's why.
that's the whole point.
So,
But unfortunately, you hit the nail on the head, Bruce, and that's why nobody's coming to meetings, that regardless of where you set the standards, there's a segment of people that just do not want windmills, wind turbines in this town. And the only way they'll be satisfied is you put the parameters or set the bar so high that it's virtually
Well,
impossible.
the bar's getting set higher on this. The fact of the matter is, the only reason that the ordinance, that there's not wind turbines up on the hill right now is because we did a bad job of writing the wind turbine ordinance the first time, and we put stuff in there that was false, that's impossible to do, that's not constitutional. The planning board took it on its own to deviate from the standard. The judge said the planning boards don't have that authority, so now the planning board is fixing it, okay? Because everything that's in there that's not physically, scientifically achievable is being removed, and everything that is scientifically achievable is being made more restrictive. So the argument is only, do you want to have stuff, because this is the other thing, okay? We can go back to the old ordinance, and then we can just go work that through and take it all to court again and have it proven unconstitutional and spend another $30,000 or $40,000 because, well, we won't because we're not going to fight it.
That's
And
right.
then that'll be the end of it.
That's right.
Because we're not going to
We're
fight,
not-
I'm not going to advise the planning board, or excuse me, the select board to go fight stuff that we got told from multiple engineers can't be done. So there's no sense in
The
defending.
town's gonna lose that fight.
Right, the town will lose.
They have-
It'll cost us $5,000 because we're not going to fight it. It'll still cost us $5,000 to go to court. And just to sit there and be told that we're wrong. But everything that's scientifically achievable is going to be made more restrictive than it is now. So it is what it is.
You know, or you could do what one town, I forget which town it was now, and I read their ordinance, and they had this complicated formula for the sound. If they had if you had 5 wind turbines, I think the distance that they were requiring was between 5 and 10 miles. Because they had this complicated formula that just kept logarithmically increasing the distance because they considered the sound increasing.
Doubling.
Yeah, I heard that one too.
Yeah, I
didn't read
forget
that
which
one.
was it.
Different one, but yeah.
Was it Jackson or some, I forget where now.
But I haven't had anybody submit anything to change
Yeah,
to match in a specific standard written out in the format.
And you know, if we have out here at this industrial site that's right out here, if we had a guy sax come and say, you know what, we've got 395 extension, that's gonna be the perfect location and it's big enough, and you wanna talk about another fight? There'll be people coming out, there'll be a certain group of people that will fight.
How do you
it
shut this
tooth
one
and nail.
down? Do you hit this thing?
How about a quarry?
Yeah,
Control Alt Delete will give you some options to shut down.
Little
Shut down
always
will be
be-
on the far lower right, which is like mine.
We got the
So
done.
just do Control Alt
I
Delete,
think we are.
and that'll bring up some options.
Did it take the chip out?
Oh, sign out?
Yeah, you wanna sign out, you wanna
Yeah,
shut
correct.
down, right?
Yeah, when I shut down.
Okay, lower right, give it a second, and it should,
Oh, okay.
it'll give you an option right there. And it's
You better
shut
pull
down.
out the,
Update and shut down? Yeah, update and shut down.
We can't see
one,
it.
Bruce, one pull the disc out.
That's
first.
right.
Yeah, I'll get it back. It'll be all right if it shuts down. I haven't had as much trouble with those as some people. And I got a copy of everything on it.
Did this computer have a case?
No.
I think I might-
That does have a case.
I might have a case at home that.
I have one,
Don't
actually, I probably have a
Actually,
set.
I'll wait now until it's shut down before I pull it. In the middle.
That is the case.
Can you burn, can you figure out how to shut that one?
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
It's power, it's power.
And then,
Well, I think I have a computer case at home,
so it doesn't have to cool off?
I don't know.
You said hit the power button.
You have the one I have, it has to cool off. I didn't know about it.
Yeah, it has to.
Don't be a singer.
Yeah, but I